Hello, I'm Dr. Rivsy Kuhn, and this series is called I Want to Be a Better Coach. And first of all, I want to say that after 13 years or so of doing about 500 different YouTube videos, I am now one of those people who have gotten 500 subscribers on my channel. And so that's a big milestone for me. It makes me laugh because there's so many people out there with thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of subscribers, and I'm very happy. I'm honored that 500 of you are subscribing and are here to check this out and be inspired, hopefully, to be a better coach or move into yourself in a different way than you have thought to do before. So I'm glad you're here. If you'd like, if you haven't subscribed already, please feel free to do that. And if you like what you see here, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you don't give it a thumbs up and you don't like the material, let me know in the comments why. And otherwise, just I say this almost every video. If you're not one of those people who gives a thumbs up, ask yourself why. It's a form of acknowledging, which we're going to talk about today. It's a form of acknowledging people for something that's of value that they're bringing to your reality. And I noticed on my last video, I got 5 likes so far from last week. And it makes me laugh because I've got 500 subscribers. That means less than 1%, I think. Gives me a thumbs up. And that's pretty much true for a lot of YouTube channels. Is people aren't willing to acknowledge that value has been brought to their life in some way or another. I find that fascinating, and it's something I want to talk about today, not just in terms of YouTube videos, but it's about the value and the importance of acknowledgement. Now, for me, this originated with my coach and trainer, Hans Phillips, who's awesome. And I think I'm not sure if this came from Landmark Forum, but he was a person that was involved with Landmark. But one of the things he taught very early in the training was the value of acknowledging people. And when we would first start coaching, when he started coaching me, at the end of the session, he'd say, "So, Rosie, what would you like to be acknowledged for?" And I have no idea. No one has ever asked me that question. I have no concept of what that means. And it felt like bragging, or felt like something wrong if I said, "Hey, I want to be acknowledged for," at that point, I was just finishing up my PhD. It's like, "Hey, I want to be acknowledged for finishing up my PhD." And it just felt kind of weird. But part of the training was to acknowledge people for anything that showed up, well, I'll say from my perspective, anything that showed up that was a value, or a something that sparked me, or something that delighted me about that individual. So it might be, "Hey, Johnny, I really like how you smile," or "I love your laughter," or "Hey, I love how you always are so expressive with your hands," or "Hey, I see how generous you are," or "Gosh, I love how relaxed you seem." Like, these are elements, these are things that are impressions, if you will, that I'm experiencing in relation to another person. And to be able to share that with them was a huge training, because I could see what was important in terms of wanting to be a better coach, if you will, is where was I open to expressing and being transparent with people? Where was I willing to say things that just generated a sense of kindness, if you will? Where was it difficult? Where did I withhold? And one of the exercises around acknowledgement was, hey, acknowledge people, especially those that you got stuff with. And hell, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to acknowledge people I had stuff with. Like, I didn't like them. I didn't want to say something nice to them. Well, that's about me. That's not about them. And if you're wanting to be a better coach, you got to look at that stuff. I didn't want to look at that stuff. And you might not want to look at that stuff. But it's like, why would I want to say something nice to somebody that I got stuff with? However, as I was intending on becoming a coach and training to be a coach, I needed to practice these things. And lo and behold, I learned a lot, and I grew this capacity to see things in people that I appreciated and valued, rather than with the people that I had stuff with, only seeing the stuff I had stuff with. Oh, they were this or they're that, all my judgments and perceptions. In acknowledging, I was able to see things that I valued and appreciated. And the more that I said those things to those people, it shifted our relationship. Because number one, I could see more positivity and I could access that part of me that didn't want to be positive, and do work with myself around that. Like, what's that about? Why am I holding on to that? Why am I seeing her or him that way? What's that about for me? I needed to look at that. So acknowledging people became a really important practice and so simple. If you've got a dog, start with, or a plant, or yourself, or people in your life, your mom, your dad, your partner, children, and to be open to seeing something that makes you feel good. Be open to something that's like, wow, you're such a playful person, or I'm so delighted in when I'm around you, whatever that is. Or I love the way that you hold your fork. That I find that fascinating. Just stuff. It doesn't matter. There's no value in what you're appreciating or acknowledging. Somebody might pull into a parking spot and you go, wow, you did that so well. Just because that's what you're inspired to say. And what it does is it grows your capacity to see positive and then acknowledge positive. Be authentic and transparent. These are all qualities of a coach that we want to generate for ourselves. Seeing the positive, generating positivity, being authentic, being transparent. These are things that are really important for us as coaches to be, but also then we're generating that in our client. Quite often I'd say something and acknowledge people for something, and they'd go, what are you talking about? Or, when you compliment somebody, go, hey, I like your sweater, and they go, this whole thing or whatever. But at some point they start to appreciate it and they start to go, thank you. And they start to generate that for themselves. And this is very, very difficult, not only in terms of acknowledging other people, but acknowledging ourselves as well. Like, how is this, how can I acknowledge myself for something great? And I did this by starting, and this was really important practice for me to go, what are 10 things I can acknowledge myself for that I did today or that I was today? It's like, I did the dishes. I put my shoes in the closet. I folded up my laundry. I brushed my teeth. I flossed my teeth. I put my computer away. The things that make a difference in my life. A little bit of thing that I did, or that I laughed more than I had in a long time, or whatever that is. But I did that practice of acknowledging 10 things about myself. That was a really good practice because I started to see some more positivity within myself rather than what most of us do, or a lot of us do, in terms of self-blame or self-loathing or self-hating or something wrong with me, and always looking for what I didn't get done. It's like kind of that shame-based kind of element. It's part of me. Not so much, but it was. So that practice of acknowledging is a really awesome beginning practice. It doesn't take anything away. It doesn't cost anything to say, hey, Judy, I love your name. Or every time I say Judy, I think of you, and it just brings me a smile. Like, whatever that is, it's easy, cheap, and it's effective in growing your capacity to be a more effective coach. So I want to step into this next thing in terms of this practice of acknowledging. It opens us up to a positive orientation. So most coaching and most therapies are based on problem solving. There's something wrong, there's something lacking, there's something missing. And so we focus on what's missing and what do I need to do, or what do you need to do differently so that will show up. And so we're always lack-based, problem-based, and it doesn't grow the capacity for the client to acknowledge and appreciate what they already have, who they already are, and how they're already very effective in their life. Quite often, and this is my experience, that so many people that come to me, and I've been doing this for a long time, well, 25 years at least as a coach, there's a level of shame-basedness in each of us, shame-basedness, where we can't see how all the cool things that we are, or the things that we can value or acknowledge about ourselves. And when we come to a coach or a therapist or a consultant, we're looking from that, I lack something, and can you give it to me? So for me as a coach, and I learned this through Hans, is look, there's something that you're wanting here in a relation to a particular context. We'll say, hey, I want a relationship with somebody special, a significant relationship in my life. It's like, great. And we talk about what that's like and how they have relationships already. Where are you already in a healthy relationship in your life, with work, with your body, with your dog, with your parents, with your children, with your church, with communities? Where are you already having a great relationship with someone or some group or something? Now, when we ask that question, we're saying, hey, I know you know already how to have a great relationship. I just want to know where you're already doing it. And it might be, hey, I love my shoes and I always clean them before I go to put them away, and I have a special rack for them. That's a relationship, and a special relationship. And this is how you take care of what you're taking care of. So where I as a coach can say, hey, where are you already doing this, is a way of acknowledging my clients are brilliant. Every single one of us human beings are brilliant, but we're not acknowledged, and we don't allow that brilliance to come through. And if I said, hey, how, you have this great relationship with your shoes, you might go, what does that have to do with having a great relationship with a partner? Well, it's everything to do with that, because you have an ability to relate and be connected and engaged and participate in a way that's fulfilling for you and takes care of in this particular case, shoes. And so that tells me that you have this capacity to take care. That's huge in growing a relationship. So if your clients are already effective, let's find out where they are effective. Let's acknowledge them for their effectiveness. Where are you already doing this? Well, I have a really good relationship with the people at work. Excellent. I always say excellent because it's a validation that a person's being authentic with what they're saying. I already have a really, really great relationship with people at work. All right, tell me more about that. How are you in healthy relationship with these people? Tell me about that. That's acknowledging they have this capacity. And they say, well, we'll call her Audrey. Audrey says, well, I come to work on time, so I'm honoring and in integrity with my word. I laugh a lot with them. I find places where we integrate and brainstorm and work together. There's a good partnering. It's like, excellent. These are important skills in developing a personal relationship with someone. Tell me more. Well, I really take in what they're saying, and they take in what I'm saying. And sometimes when we have issues or problems, we work it out. Awesome. Or we call in another person to help us work this out. Awesome. Those are all skills and tools that are required to have a good, authentic, special relationship. So I'm giving my client the opportunity to share and acknowledge where they're already doing what they need to be doing in order to have this over here. We'll call it a special relationship. That's really important because it gives them the confidence, self-trust, self-respect, and it says you already have a lot of what is needed here to have this experience and this what you're wanting over here. And then asking, what's different about this than what you have over here. What might be missing? What's different over here? And they might come up with it's vulnerable and I don't want to be that vulnerable, or intimacy, or I had some breakups or some traumas around this. Well, awesome. We can talk about those traumas and the things in the past, or breakups or heart or grief or loss or all kinds of things we can talk about. But we've established how and where they are already effective. So just again, going back to the practice of acknowledging an individual. Hey, I like the way that you did what you did just now. That's our ability to say and be transparent and authentic in seeing another person. And we can grow that into this capacity to always be looking for that in our coaching relationships, and say, where in your to your client, where in your life are you already doing this? 99% of the time, your client are already doing this, what they're wanting. And quite often, though, a person will say, I don't know how to do me in a special relationship. I know how to do me with my shoes. I know how to do me in partnering with my people at work. I know how to do me in terms of health and well-being, but I don't know how to do this. And that's awesome, because, of course, this is a new place where they're learning to utilize their themselves in a way that they may feel uncomfortable about. That's our job as a coach, is to support them in that way, to go, totally get it. Totally get it. I don't know how to do me in a lot of different places in my life. I don't know. We'll see. But in our ability to be positive and focus on, where are you already doing this? Where are you already brilliant? Where are you already confident? Where are you already trusting yourself in relationships, especially with people? Where are you already doing this? And they can tell you. Or they may go, oh, I don't know. It's like, okay. Do you have children? Nope. Do you have sisters and brothers? Yeah. What are those relationships like? Oh, I really like my sister and we have a really good la la la. And you can go into and explore those places. Where are you already doing it well? And they might say, I'm only doing it well with this particular person on these particular days. And you go, awesome. Because they're doing it. They know they're doing it. And they can draw on that as, here's the experience I'm having. Because you're asking the questions that are acknowledging they already know. You're acknowledging their abilities to act as mature adults. And maybe they're not doing it everywhere, but they are doing it somewhere. And our job is to focus on that. Where are you already doing it? So that ability to ask those questions, it took me a while to train myself, but it came out of this ability to be acknowledge my clients are already brilliant. I say this on my website in my somewhere on there. My clients are extraordinary, and they're all, well, you are extraordinary. Your clients are extraordinary. And if I come into conversation with you from that perspective, I already know you have the capacity to grow and become the coach or the individual you want to be. I know it's there. My job is just to be present and support and empower you to explore for yourself. What is that? And what's in the way? What thoughts and perspectives or memories are you holding that limit that? It's no big deal. But if I come into this as a coach thinking there's a problem and you don't know how to do it, then I'm not respecting you. I'm not trusting you have what it takes. It's not a good it's not going to be a healthy relationship. I'm going to see myself as the higher up and the more better person, and you just need to be dependent on me and I'll tell you what to do. I had a client today who said, hey, give me your opinion on this. Tell me what to do. And I go, no, I'm not doing that, because you're already trained yourself to be dependent on so many people. That's not my job. My job is not to have you be dependent on me for my perspective. You're dependent on me so that I can support and empower you to think for yourself and to see how amazing you are, see how how competent you are already and to trust that. That's what I want for you. I want you to have that for yourself with your clients. And so, just saying, I do one-on-one coach training, and I've got group supervisions. Calling group supervisions are groups where we get together every other week to talk about what's showing up in challenging you as a coach. You'll see down in the description below. Just send me an email and say, "Hey, I'm interested." If you're wanting to grow your capacity to be a better coach with me. I also do one-on-one individual coaching as well, and business coaching, leadership coaching, all of that. But we're talking about how to be a more effective coach. So if you want some support from me on that, check out the description below. And if you have questions or challenges you'd like me to respond to, there's a form down below, and you can fill that out, ask your question if you don't want to leave it in the comments. And I'll be happy to answer anything you have, just because that's what I like to do. I also want to but the third thing I want to talk about today is, I've only learned how to be a better coach through practicing what I'd learned through my coaches and my training, but more importantly, from my clients. My clients bring stuff up, and they're challenging me all the time. And they challenge me to show up more effective, more in integrity, more clarity, more heart, more passion for what I'm here to do. And I can't do that without my clients. And you can't do it without your clients. In a sense, every one of your clients in any single session should be challenging you to go, whoa, what am I thinking? What's that true? What's true for me? How is that true for me? Because anything our clients bring to us, we have a perspective, we have a context that either is going to limit us and limit our way of being in the world and our coaching, or it's going to grow us. A client of mine was talking the other day about, she said something like, I still want to be see myself as more spiritual than my partner. And I thought about that. It triggered something in me, because there's a part of me that says I am more spiritual than other people. And I certainly want to be, I see myself as more spiritual than most people. Now that is just an absurd thing that I just said, because nobody's more spiritual than anyone else. But that hierarchy or that sense of specialness, what's that about? What do I get? And so this was my client. My point is my client is saying what they're saying, and they're having a relationship with their spouse, and their relationship with their spirituality, and that's what they're talking about. And I'm going, wait, that's true for me. And how does that work in for me? And what do I get to? What remains? What do I get to hang on to if I remain in this state of I'm more spiritual than someone else? I have to want to be with that question, because it gets in the way of intimacy and vulnerability and openness, and it puts a priority or hierarchy on something that may not even be an issue. I'm not in a relationship right now, but I go, well, if I was in a relationship, that person would have to be, just fill in the blanks, doesn't friggin' matter. And I go, wow, that's my stuff. So my clients always are bringing stuff up for me, in me. And I work with my coaches, or I work with myself, or I work with my spirit focused persons and all that kind of stuff to be present to these things that are inside me that influence how I be a coach, it influences how I be a human being. And so that's what I want. I have this assumption that every coach wants to be that in the world for themselves and for their families and their partnerships and their friendships and their clients. That's what I'm assuming they want. That's just not necessarily true, but that's my orientation. But my clients are my teachers. I'm learning something from them every single session. I walk away every single session kind of shaking my head going, what did I learn from this one? What am I sitting with now? And it's a really, 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 for me, It's really important because I get to learn and or learn like, I don't want to work with this kind of person anymore. I don't want to work with this particular focus or genre or whatever niche. Don't want to. But it helps me. I learn from every single person. And so check in with yourself to see what you're learning through every single session with your clients. They're your teachers. That's what I think anyway. So, hey, let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, thumbs up or thumbs down. If you find value, but you go, yeah, no, don't want to, just look at, hey, can I acknowledge this person just with a single click? And it's not just me. I say this every time. Any YouTube video you watch and you feel like, wow, I got value, what stops you from giving a thumbs up? What stops you? And you can leave that in the comments below. Here's what stops me. And someone said to me a few weeks ago, hey, I don't give anyone. It's like, okay, what stops you? What stops you from that positive acknowledgement? We need that more in the world. We need that more with our clients. We need that more for our own inner growth to go, wow, thumbs up. See what shows up. Just explore it for yourself. All right. Well, I'm sending you blessings, big hugs, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.